it's time to pick some SEC football games. Should be an easy week. It's non-conference, but I think there's several games in here that could trip us up. All right. We're starting off with Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. I think we both can agree. This is 7:30 ESPNU Thursday, the 29th. We're both picking Arkansas here, right?
Yeah, Arkansas is getting the win here.
Sam Pittman's height goes back through the roof after this, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to last long, but it does go back to the roof for this one game. But
yeah, take those notes, brother, because we got to keep scoring this. All right.
Yeah, I've got them. And this game is actually in Little Rock. They're doing another opening game, Little Rock.
That's right. It does say War Memorial Stadium.
Yep. I think you mentioned this is on Thursday night. Also on Thursday night, we have Missouri and Murray State. This is at 8 o'clock Eastern on the SEC Network.
Missouri will be a top 10 team. They already moved up in the rankings. They just didn't know it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's pretty easy. This one is also Missouri.
I agree with you. I know it's boring, but we got to do it. We got to go on record and say it. So, in case you wanted to pick an upset, But Friday, the only SEC game Friday, August 30th, is going to be Temple at Oklahoma. This is going to be 7 o'clock p.m. On ESPN. This is in Norman. Temple's a solid team. Definitely don't need to be overlooked, but I do think Oklahoma pulls out the win here. If not, there's major question marks at the coaching position in Oklahoma.
I actually disagree with the solid team thing for Temple. The spread in this game is 43.
Temple solid
of Oklahoma.
Temple solid. I stand by that. I will watch the game just to prove it.
Oklahoma's going to win this game big.
I'm trying to make it more exciting, Michael. Shut up.
Yeah. But now we get to the Saturday slate, and there are some interesting games on this Saturday slate.
Kicking off at noon, too.
Yeah, starting off with the noon game on ABC. It is Georgia and Clemson in Atlanta. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you this one's not going to be exciting either. Georgia, the spread is 13.5. They're going to win by as many as they choose.
Solid like Jell-O. That's exactly what I mean, bro. Thank you, Justin, for saying that. Yeah, Clemson being 14th in the nation. They'll actually probably be 13th coming next week. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be pretty for Clemson. This is going to be another week one loss for Clemson. Another week one loss. I say that because they lost to Duke. Duke was who we both chose Duke to beat Clemson last year in the opening. Yeah, I see Clemson dropping another one in week one. It's just that's a tough draw getting Georgia right off the bat. And what is a big revenge year for Georgia, right? I mean, you didn't lose a single regular season game. You lose a very close one in the SEC championship, a game that's not supposed to penalize you as much as a regular season loss, and they missed the playoff for it. Yeah, I could see Georgia going on a tear here, beating them open, just like they did against Oregon.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. That was, I think, last year.
It was last year? Okay. Georgia I guess Dan Lanning. So
Georgia beat them 49-3 in that opening game.
It was ridiculous. But I could see that happening. I mean, 100% buckle up, Clemson fans. It doesn't mean your season's over. Look at what Oregon did after that. But just bend over and take it and get back home so you can actually focus on your season. That's all I'm saying. All right. Virginia Tech, Vanderbilt. I'm taking Virginia Tech here.
Yeah, this game is also at noon Eastern. This one is on ESPN, in which Vanderbilt is going to get beat there. The spread here is 13.5. I do think Vanderbilt could backdoor cover this one, maybe get a late touchdown.
They do have a solid quarterback. I do not need to forget about that. Vanderbilt does have a solid quarterback from New Mexico State who beat Auburn last year. All right. But do you see Vanderbilt as being more talented than New Mexico State? I don't know. I would have to agree that they should be. I mean, it's SEC talent, but we all know it's bottom of the barrel SEC talent. So Virginia Tech, I think, is kind of one of those sleeper picks for the ACC this year. So I'm going to go with Virginia Tech.
Yeah, they are. Like I said, Virginia Tech is going to win, but I can see a backdoor cover for Vanderbilt, maybe get a late touchdown and make it a 11, 12-point game, something like that. So, I do think we're gonna see a little bit better Vanderbilt team than we did last year, but it's not gonna matter just based on them being Vanderbilt and everybody else is better than them. I mean that's just being frank about it.
100%. The next one.
Yeah, we get our game in this one. We get UT Chat against Tennessee. So I like what the SEC Network did this year. They kind of staggered the game times to because the main networks, they get the 11 o'clock, they get the 2:30, then they get the 7:30
Central times. Yes. You live in Middle Tennessee, so yeah.
So the SEC Network has staggered it. So this game will actually be starting at 12:45 Eastern. And they're also doing, I believe it's like 4:15 Eastern, and then
they are, which is the South Carolina game. We'll get to that one. So yeah,
like 7:45, something like that. So they staggered the game time, so every game is not starting at the exact same time. Absolutely.
And remember this, because we're going to get to it later on in the picks. But there will always, your team will have an absolute guaranteed SEC Network Plus game this year. It's just impossible to televise all the games, especially when all the teams play. When we get into the bye weeks, it's easy. Like there's no games on SEC Network Plus. But when you got weeks like this where every team's playing, there are going to be games on SEC Network Plus. It's not that your cable doesn't work. It's just that you probably don't have that coverage. You can absolutely get the ESPN app and get it. I have it. It's totally worth it just for baseball season for me. I don't like to miss baseball games. So yeah, we'll get to that because there's four. I think there's four of those games in this pick segment alone, just because it's week 1, 2, 3, maybe 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's 3. But we'll get there. But yeah, I think in this game we're both choosing Tennessee. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this. Pretty easy pick there. Colorado State at Texas, another one. It's kind of clear cut. I said this was gonna be an easier week just because it's a bunch of non-conference. This is 3:30 on ESPN. In Austin, Texas. Yes, absolutely. This is going to be a big win for Texas, and I hope you agree with that.
Yeah, Texas is going to win. One interesting thing I want to see from Texas out of this game, what do the running backs look like? Because Texas has been absolutely decimated with injuries.
Lost 2.
Yeah, in fall practice. Their top 2 running backs, they lost.
Yep,
they've gotten to the point where they've actually, I believe, pulled a wide receiver to play some running backs. So something to look out for Texas as far as the running back room.
All right, first big game that I think could swap us up a little bit, but I think we agreed on this in the prediction segment. We got Miami at Florida, 3:30 on ABC in Gainesville. Miami at Florida. How big of you, Mario Cristobal? You a big fan of him? Are you big fan? Bigger fan of Billy Napier?
So I like Billy Napier. I think when Billy Napier was hired by Florida, I thought it was a great hire, but I did question, is he going to be the guy for Florida because of the situation he was put in at Florida? It's kind of turned out the way I thought it would. I don't think he's going to turn it around this year, but I'm a fan of Billy Napier. I'm not a fan of Mario Cristobal. I don't trust him. There's a lot of high hopes for Miami again this year, and I'm just not going to buy into it until I see it. I've got Florida winning this game at home in week 1. A huge statement win for Billy Napier to start the season. Maybe he can take that game and turn it into some momentum. We'll see.
I didn't die. I'm just thinking. I want this known. Yes, I agree with you. I think Florida could absolutely get this win. But for the sake of the pick segment and for the sake of excitement, instead of just picking the same thing, I also see Florida in week 1 games under Billy Napier, and they've not been solid.
That's a good point.
They've not been solid against Utah. That comes to mind. I am actually going to take the Hurricanes here to beat Florida, solely because I just want to disagree with you. But 2, I could absolutely see this happening. And if this happens to Florida, oh boy, this could be an absolute. I mean, if they lose to Miami week 1, especially how they lose, being at home, they could possibly. I mean, they bring in 3-9 into the equation of their overall record.
Yeah.
So they don't need to lose. I don't think they're going to lose. I'm going to pick them to lose because I just want to beat you week one. I'm so competitive. Like, I just want to beat you. I want to have the winning record from start to finish again. Like, I think I did last year. Like, I think we tied a couple times, but I'm pretty sure I won the entire year. And I want to keep it that way. So
here's the
give me
crazy
Miami.
thing. Here's the crazy thing about last year, though. I went perfect in week one games. But because you picked the Duke Clemson upset, you were still ahead of me at the end of week one.
Get right, dude. We don't count the losses. It's just a matter of how many points you get. All right. So how many wins you get. So yeah, but that's what makes the upset pick of the week that much more important. So
yeah. Hopefully we do better this year than we did last year on it.
Yeah, I think I only got like 2 of them right. But it was funny because the 2 times that I got it right is when I needed to get it right. So it's all that matters. So no, I'm taking Miami in this game. On paper, Miami should win. So it's not an outrageous pick. It's just
And if you watch the late kick with Josh Pate, he is a big believer in Miami this year. He's gone to the practice, and he
Who
can't.
Who did they get? They got a transfer quarterback that's solid, didn't they?
Tyler Van Dyke.
No, that was the quarterback last year. I thought they got a new quarterback.
No, he's back this year. Tyler Van Dyke is.
I'm gonna have to fact check you on that, but okay.
All right. But yeah, he's a big believer. He can't give out any details because he was allowed to practice, but he said what he's seen, he said his exact words were the O-line and the D-line for Miami looks like an SEC O-line and D-line. So if that tells you anything, he's big on Miami this year. I, however, am not. 4:15 Eastern time on the SEC Network. Old Dominion is coming to South Carolina. South Carolina is a 21-point favorite in this game. I'm going to be interested to see what South Carolina does in this one. Old Dominion is a team that has pulled some upsets in the past. I'm pretty sure last year, maybe it was 2 years ago, they beat Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech. This isn't that same team. I do think they still have some talent. I think it's going to be a good test for South Carolina with new quarterback Lenore Sellers this year. We get to see Rocket Sanders in this game. Can he stay healthy this year for South Carolina? I do think South Carolina gets to win in this game.
Matt, I believe, was asking if Miami and Florida would be the game of the day, and I'm going to say no. There's one that we're getting to a little later that I think could be the game of the day. But if we're talking about best game, I think it could be the best of the game. Game of the day, I guess. If we're talking about maybe closest, exciting finish. But as far as big name teams going at it in week one, Miami, Florida, absolutely at the top. But I think there's one more matchup that's a little bit more exciting that we're going to get to here in a little bit.
And that game, College Game Day, is going to. So.
Yeah. So, and we'll get there. But South Carolina, give me South Carolina. It's an easy pick. Eastern Kentucky at Mississippi State. I'm taking Mississippi State. This is an SEC plus game. So if you're a Mississippi State fan watching the show, just know your week one game will not be nationally broadcasted. It will be on ESPN Plus, SEC Network Plus. Get that subscription. If you don't know how, reach out to me and Michael via DM. We can absolutely explain to you how to get that subscription. It's pretty easy. It's not too crazy hard.
Yep.
But anyways,
I'm also taking Mississippi State in this game. This is going to be a game that's going to be fun to watch just because of the high-powered offense that I think Mississippi State is going to have this year. Obviously, not going to be a competitive game, I don't believe, but it's going to be fun to watch that offense for Mississippi State.
Yeah, for sure.
7:00 Eastern time.
Yes.
Alabama is facing off against Western Kentucky.
Now this is the matchup that I was talking about. This is the absolute, if you're talking big name Brent, no, I'm joking. I'm taking Alabama by a mile here.
Alabama in this game is going to win, and they're going to win pretty handily. But don't sleep on Western Kentucky. I am by no means picking the upset in this one. Alabama will win.
USF? Are we benching Jalen Milroe in week one? Is that what we're doing? All right.
No, but Western Kentucky, they are a perennial power when it comes to mid-major college football. So don't sleep on them. They have been known to give teams, give some Power 5 teams a little bit of trouble. Not Tennessee whenever they had 5 turnovers in 6 plays or something like that. Scored 20-something points in one quarter.
That was great.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, that was amazing. But Alabama will win this game and win it pretty handily. But I do think Western Kentucky puts up some points against Alabama in this game.
All right, Furman at Ole Miss, 7:00. This is also an SEC ESPN Plus. Ole Miss fans, again, it is not going to be national televised. That does not mean that the game is not happening. It is absolutely being played. I don't want to stress that enough because we get it all the time in the chat box. Like, whoa, why can't we watch our team? That's why. But Furman at Ole Miss, I think Ole Miss wins this one pretty big as well. Just another, warm-up beater preseason game, if you want to call it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Ole Miss is going to be able to get the backups in early in this game, and they're going to score early and often. Now we get to the big game of the day. This is where College Game Day is going to be. For this game has been announced for a while. Notre Dame traveling to College Station to play against Texas A&M. This one actually surprised me, and I think this has flipped since the last time I looked. Texas A&M is a 2.5-point favorite. I think the last time I looked, Notre Dame was like a 3.5-point favorite, or maybe a 1.5, something like that. So
let's be honest with you. Kyle Field is the best home field advantage behind Neyland.
No, there's one other that's in front of them.
Are you gonna say LSU?
Yep.
Nah, no shot. Anyways, I let me pull up I'm gonna pull up the FanDuel. I want to know what the line is on this game here, because this is the there's other big games just maybe outside the SEC in week 1, but this is the one of 2 big games for the SEC in week 1. I'm not even really counting Clemson Georgia big game.
Yeah.
Sorry.
When you look at the ESPN betting odds, it's 2.5. I'm also trying to get FanDuel pulled up to see. But while we're getting it pulled up,
I'm going to take Notre Dame. Yeah, get wrecked. I wanted to say it first. I just don't.
You know what?
A&M has the dogs though. Like, I'm serious. Like the roster's there, and they are at home. But I want Notre Dame to get their 1 win, and then they're never going to win a national championship. But that's all I'm going to say. All right.
Yeah, you've already picked to be different this week, so I'm also going to take Notre Dame in this one.
FanDuel. Okay.
FanDuel has also got Texas A&M minus 2.5. So, but I'll give a reason behind mine. I am a big Marcus Freeman believer at Notre Dame. Do I think that they're ever going to win a national championship here in this 12-team playoff? No, I don't. But I think this is a must-win game for Notre Dame, because when you look at the rest of their schedule, it's fairly weak compared to what they normally have. I think the
Texas A&M is a 2.5-point favorite against Notre Dame. It's literally a pick 'em, and because they're at home, they're giving it to A&M.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame's win total this year is at like 10.5 or something like that. So
Notre Dame money line is plus 122. Is that a best bet?
Possibly, yeah.
All right. Robert tunes in and says, I have a question marks with A&M. Not good to play Notre Dame week 1. I agree. With a new coach who knows what A&M offense will look like with Wegman. However, I actually like Connor Wegman. I think he's actually a really good quarterback. He gets kind of shadowed a little bit because he got hurt. Connor Wegman was moving the ball when he was the quarterback for A&M. In fact, I'm not saying we would have lost to him. We probably would have lost to him if he was the quarterback for A&M when we played him. Matt even says, I got A&M. I think Connor Wegman could be that dude, and I think he could prove it against Notre Dame. I think that's absolutely fair. But I'm just saying, best bet odds. I mean, Notre Dame's a plus 122 money line. Notre Dame, they got a solid team. I don't think they're a championship-worthy team, but I think they have a solid team. There's a reason why you're seeing them in the predictions for the playoff and stuff like that, and you're not seeing A&M. Now, I don't understand how A&M is ranked. Doesn't make sense to me. They are the offseason princess of college football. They are ranked in every single preseason poll, no matter how they do the week before or the year before. But either way, this could be a stamp win for Mike Elko and A&M.
Yeah, I agree with you there. But we did both pick Notre Dame in this game. Next one on the schedule, at 7:30 Eastern. This is the last ESPN Plus SEC Network Plus game. So Auburn fans that are watching, if there are any, you will have to have the ESPN Plus subscription to watch this. Auburn against Alabama A&M. Auburn's going to win this game. I'm interested to see what Peyton Thorne looks like this year. He does have some, I would say, some pretty decent wide receivers this year, which he didn't have last year, but is he going to be able to get the ball to them? I'm not a big believer in Peyton Thorne, but it's not going to matter in this game. Auburn wins.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, 100%. I had to comment. Robert said, "You're right, Michael. It is a must-win for Notre Dame because Florida State's already got that loss. So that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. But they are fighting for that playoff bid. Notre Dame, though, to be fair, if nobody caught this, Notre Dame cannot be a top 4 team. That is just for the Power 4 conference champions. So Notre Dame, now in a way, this is good, especially if you're ranked 5 through 8 in the playoffs. But they can't get that bye week. But if you're ranked 5 through 8, if you're Notre Dame, if you're like 5, you get that first week home game in the playoffs. I think that's huge, especially playing in South Bend. You get maybe like some snowy conditions that you're used to, and maybe a team from the South is not. That could play into your favor in a massive way in a playoff in a playoff setting. Last game of the Saturday, second to last game for the SEC. That is Southern Miss at Kentucky. Kentucky better watch out here. Better watch out for Southern Miss, brother. I think Kentucky gets the win here, though.
This isn't baseball, so I'm not worried about.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Southern Miss. So Kentucky does get the win in this one. The spread right now in that one is, let's see. ESPN has it listed at 28. FanDuel has it at 27.5.
Fair enough.
So
I'm about to parlay all these big spreads and just do money line straight up and see how much money I can get.
Yeah, I think Southern Miss might be able to cover that spread there, but we'll see. But Kentucky does get the win in this one, and we'll go ahead and pick this game. But just like last year, this game, we won't know what the result of it is until after next week's show.
Yeah. But we go ahead and pick it because this is technically next weekend's game. So we're going to go ahead and pick it live here or, on the show today. But like you said, we won't know the outcome of it until after. And what's that game that you're talking about on that Sunday?
It is LSU and USC. Brian Kelly just loves these
cinema
games.
This is cinema. This is it's a great matchup for two teams both replacing star quarterbacks.
Yep.
Both teams, terrible defenses. What are we looking at here in this matchup? Nobody knows. Nobody knows what these two teams are going to be like.
Yeah, this game is being played in Las Vegas, Nevada. Skylar mentioned it. Both teams are placing star quarterbacks. Both teams had terrible defenses last year.
Dalton tunes in on Facebook, says, can they both lose? Yeah, they possibly could. We'll see. We'll see what the score looks like. But yes, they can tie in football now, I think. So it's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see on that. I have talked to people from both teams as far as people that do podcasting. Both teams say the defense is going to be a lot better this year. And it's going to be reloaded. Both teams are still high on the offense. And I can't remember who USC's quarterback is that played in the bowl game. He played pretty good, though. So I think he's going to be good. We still have question marks around Garrett Nussmeier, but I think that he is going to be just fine this year. I'm going to take LSU to win this game. I know a little bit more about them than I do USC.
Yeah, I'm going to pick LSU to win this game. I think the Nussbus is a little bit more of a stabler. What's the word I'm looking for here? Golly, more of a guarantee, I guess, than whatever we're going to see from USC. Maybe USC has that dog. I've not done a lot of research on USC. I'll just be honest with you. But Robert comes in. He says, I don't trust Brian Kelly. So USC gets the win.
That's fair. That is very fair right there. Brian Kelly is he's gonna have a decent team, but can he win those big games?
Think about Florida State last year.
for the last 2 years.
Yeah. Well, last year in particular just wasn't it? It wasn't even close, was it? They got blown out.
Yeah, it ended up being a blowout in that game. That was defense though.
Yeah, and that's where Robert comes in. You know, Robert might actually change my mind here. Hold up. I'm not gonna change my mind. I do think LSU should get the win. I'm kind of voting here or predicting here SEC bias a little bit. But I've already gone against my SEC bias earlier when I chose Virginia Tech over Vanderbilt, but you can say that's guaranteed, but it kind of is. But either way, I'm not changing my pick. Anyways.
Garrett Nussmeier is another one of those quarterbacks. We talked about Joe Milton sticking around. We talked about, who was that other quarterback that stuck around?
Mac Jones.
Yes, Mac Jones. Garrett Nussmeier is one of those. He is stuck around.
My bad.
And he's waited for his time, and now it's here. And is he going to take advantage of that?